What's up, guys? Wade Willis here to break down episode 1060 for One Piece. Huge One Piece fan here. I actually caught up to the manga probably about, I'd say like a month and a half ago, and I've been following it week to week since then, and I really caught up at the best time because Oda has been just doing straight bangers every single chapter since I've caught up. It's been blowing my mind. Last chapter I absolutely loved, although I was scared for Boa Hancock the whole time, and there's still like a lot up in the air in that chapter. But we're going to focus on 1060. And this was, again, another amazing chapter. We start off with Luffy losing his mind, saying that Sabo, there's no way that he actually killed Vivi's father, which I think all of us kind of agreed with. I can say I would be absolutely shocked if they did have Sabo as murdering Vivi's father, unless her father was kind of asking Sabo to kill him or something like that. But that honestly kind of made no sense. And I've actually been watching the anime over again, and I was kind of like, before I just watched an episode yesterday. I'm back up to Whole Cake Island, and there was kind of a part in the Reverie section where Vivi's father is talking about how he has questions that he wants to ask the government about the poneglyphs, and I'm just going to say I had totally forgotten that he wanted to do that. There's been so much time since all the Reverie stuff and everything that's broken down, and Wano lasted years. I had totally forgotten about that, and kind of makes sense why the government would actually want him dead and kind of blame it on someone else. And also kidnap Vivi because they would probably assume that she knows the same things that he knows. That's obviously a big deal. And Luffy's just straight up losing his mind, saying that they need to go to Alabasta to go and check on Vivi or go save her, essentially. And Zoro's like the voice of reason. And this is one thing with Zoro. I mean, if things are regarding Sanji, he's kind of a dick. Let's be real. I love Zoro, but if it's regarding curly brows, he isn't necessarily the most logical in his opinions. But for almost everything else, he is kind of the voice of reason that helps kind of guide Luffy. And Luffy kind of respects his opinion because Zoro's a badass. So it's not like we're Nami or Chopper or Usopp are like, no, we shouldn't do this. And Luffy is just like, okay, yeah, they're scared. When Zoro's like, hey, this is a terrible idea, Luffy kind of listens a little bit more. Zoro actually corrects him and is like, hey, actually Vivi was last seen in Marijois. And then Luffy wants to go there. That's even a worse idea than going to Alabasta. And, literally, if they went there right now, without Luffy's whole grand fleet, they'd be toast. There's no way they could deal with 3 admirals, and who knows how strong the, head of the government is, let alone the 5 guys who they kind of boss around the admirals. I kind of think they may be strong as hell, personally, because they are not threatened by Lava Boy at all. They just kind of boss him around and treat him like a little dummy. So I think those fools are strong as hell. And yeah, going there would be an absolute mistake. I feel like everyone would basically die. Maybe Luffy would make it out. But realistically, probably not if they made the story realistic. But it's One Piece, so how realistic is it? And then Zoro does something pretty cool. Again, he's knocking some sense into Luffy. It kind of brings up hey, Vivi's part of our family. when Ace was going through his own stuff, you talked about how like those are his adventures. I need to leave him on his own until it's like an absolute necessity. Um, and so you need to leave Vivi to fend for herself. If she really needs us, like she'll let us know somehow, I guess. And like if not, we need to kind of let things go how they need to go. Luffy finally like agrees to what Zoro's saying, and he still doesn't stop him from talking trash, along with Sanji, Chopper, and Nami, just like kind of just making fun of him, calling him names and stuff, and Luffy kind of says, "All right, like it's not going to stop me from being worried," which is fair. Like I would be very worried if Vivi's father was assassinated and she's gone missing, and they are saying that it was your brother who did it. Not a good situation. And then Robin kind of fills Luffy in on some of the stuff that's gone on, of the abolition of the warlord system, which kind of wish they would have gotten into the stuff with Boa Hancock at this point. I do feel like adding maybe not her to the crew, but her like an alliance with her pirate crew and that island would probably be beneficial for everyone involved. Boa Hancock's strong as hell. I would absolutely love to see her join the crew. And just kind of the awkward when she's in it, I just love it. I'm kind of obsessed with her, like almost every guy who loves One Piece is. But yeah, I just love when she's around and having her like on in the crew or just riding with them, like how Carrot did for basically like 2 arcs. I think would be pretty cool, and just she would be very helpful to have in their thing. I do think that she is going to join up with them at some point. I just was kind of hoping it would be soon, and maybe in the next chapter, he's going to get some more news from Robin, and she's going to tell him the stuff that happened with Boa Hancock. But I digress. Robin kind of tells Luffy about Cross Guild, and Buggy is an emperor, and Luffy's like kind of calling BS on it. He's like, there has to be some sort of mix-up, which there is. Luffy and most like hardcore pirates know that Buggy is like legit a clown, except for the Navy. For some reason, they keep falling for stuff. I mean, just the whole like Buggy plot. I love every minute of it, and I'm excited for however they're going to utilize him as an emperor in this last arc. And Robin was going to like tell Luffy some more news, and like he's kind of just like, okay, just if there's something big, let me know. And Robin's like, all right. I mean, Luffy, he notoriously doesn't look things up or is unaware of everything. I mean, go back to this is like, I believe, around Reverie, Whole Cake Island. Again, sorry I'm bringing this up, but this is like a perfect example. Luffy sees the story about the revolutionary like base being found and being absolutely destroyed, and there's a story and kind of shows that Sabo's like second in command of Dragon, and like Luffy's all worried about Sabo, and they're like, oh, it talks about your dad too, and he's like, oh, that's what my dad looks like, and they're like in shock that he never looked up who his dad was or anything about him since he was told like over 2 years ago, and it just is so Luffy. I love that part, and he doesn't want to know what's going on. He just wants to focus on what's straight ahead of him. And honestly, he probably knowing more about what's going on would be a good thing. But this is like something with sports. When you start looking ahead and trying to look at too many things and all the different chess pieces on the board, unless you're like a master schemer, a lot of people are going to get too focused on really small things that don't matter, and this can kind of mess you up. And I think this would relate into some of these situations as well too. Like Luffy, I mean, he knows too little, I think, and like knowing a little bit more would be great. But he's not a master strategist, except for when it comes to fighting. He is actually great at strategy and has a great imagination. But a lot of other stuff, they just kind of got to let him go with the flow. And I think he performs at a higher level that way. So yeah, just giving him too much detail on everything wouldn't be great. Although uh, I I do think Boa Hancock is going to be really important in the future. And then we get into what this chapter is titled, which is Luffy's dream, and he's talking about his dream, and we get, I mean, they really blue ball us on this. Let's be real. Um, but what we do know now, it seems like him being the king of the pirates isn't his final dream. There's something that he cannot accomplish without being king of the pirates, or being king of the pirates will help reach that goal. And he's only told a few people, I believe, Sabo, Ace, and Shanks. Now his whole crew knows, and apparently, I don't know, is Caribou part of the crew now too? I think he might be the 10th member. But yeah, so they all know. They don't tell us exactly what it is. I'd love to hear your guys' guesses. Mine personally is that he wants to. This is kind of like wild, but it makes sense if you think about it. Essentially, get rid of the government so that no one can tell you what to do, and everyone can be free. I think that that is something that would completely logically make sense. It's such a ridiculous concept, and like society as a whole probably wouldn't last that long without a government. And you don't need a world government, to be honest. The world will work fine without a world government, I think. And honestly, this world government is terrible. But I would not be shocked if that's what it is. The only thing holding me back from truly believing that's what his dream is that is such a, I guess, a pretty well thought out and cool dream. And I'm thinking of Luffy's dream is going to be something like way more silly and just like ridiculous. And as difficult as that dream sounds, seems realistic in like how we see things going in the story. So that's my opinion on that. But let me know your guys' in the comments below. Then we get to, in my opinion, the best part, which is absolutely wild. We have kind of the world Navy HQ is like wiretapping Sabo. Apparently, he doesn't have the special transponder stale, and they trace his call back to the Leluzia Kingdom, which is one of them that revolted after Reverie, I believe. If I'm wrong, let me know. And he's talking to Dragon, telling him that he didn't actually kill King Cobra, and he's now telling him like a secret. And this is a big one. So he's telling him that when he went to Marijois, he saw that there was supposed to be that empty throne, that there's no king, but there was someone sitting on it. He gets cut off before he's able to tell Dragon that someone was actually on the throne. And that's how I'm seeing it. Now, as like this conversation's going on in that town or the island of Leluzia, there's like these big, dark, ominous clouds. Now, as I was seeing this going on, it was honestly really reminding me of Skypiea, and kind of, I believe Enel is his name. I know there's multiple different pronunciations, but the lightning asshole. And it was reminding me of like what his kind of ultimate weapon that was going to destroy essentially like all of Skypiea. I was getting kind of those vibes, and I'm like, one, okay, is Enel like involved? Like, what's going on here? Then I was thinking maybe it's one of the, like, something similar. Maybe, and then I started thinking, okay, maybe they got those new robots, like semi-humans, like they had that had Boa Hancock's, like, kind of power that are based on the warlords. Maybe they have one based on Enel or something. Then I start thinking about the ultimate weapons. All these things are going on in my mind, and I'm getting super nervous because up to this point, Oda has not really been killing anyone of significance off at all. And I know that this is a last arc. People are going to start dying. And really, since Ace and Whitebeard died, like, there hasn't really been anyone, like, that we're, like, super, super close to that have died. Two of the samurai died, and Wano, I believe, but no one really, really major, in my opinion. I was kind of shocked that they actually killed those people off. But I'm like, okay, the clock is ticking, and Oda, since Wano has ended, is going, like, balls to the wall in these things, just, like, unleashing. And boy, does he unleash here, because as Sabo's, like, telling this information, or he thinks he is, this huge, like, explosion happens on this island, and essentially, like, I believe it's either Navy HQ or a government. It basically says this island, like, never existed, and it's essentially destroyed. Now, realistically, I think Sabo was probably, like, maybe on a ship off the island, or maybe he did some weird redirecting thing to make it look like he was on that island. Which, if he did that, that sucks for those people on that island, regardless. But if he redirected it to that island, and a whole, like, essentially there's a genocide of that island, that is really terrible. But, I mean, we're kind of due for, like, a significant death. I don't think it would be good for the story to kill off Sabo yet. I could see Sabo die, but I think it's, like, way too early, and he has way too much to do as a character. So it'd be really strange to actually kill Sabo off right now, in my opinion. Yeah, overall, guys, I mean, this totally blew my mind. And oh my god, there's even more left in this chapter. I totally forgot. Again, after that whole island's destroyed, they're leaving us on a cliffhanger there. Luffy and his crew are sailing, and there's, like, some crazy freaking weather. And it looks like this big, like, ball of water is going on, and they kind of hear, like, some voices or something. And, of course, Sanji hears, like, a lady in distress, too. It's not just Luffy. Zoro slices it open, which immediately scares Sanji, because he doesn't want the lady to be hurt. Chopper goes flying because he has this ridiculous hat going right now. And they see that the person that is in this, like, ball of water is Jewelry Bonnie, who, I honestly, again, there's been so much that has happened. I remember Blackbeard was trying to get her to marry him, and she was, like, saying no. I thought she might be dead, but I didn't think we had been shown her death either. And so she's found now. And, well, this is going to give the crew probably a lot of intel on how to get to Blackbeard. I'm sure she wants to get revenge on him. I'm gathering that she was probably put into this weird ball water thing because of him. But I'm not sure. But this leaves so many, like, I have so many more questions at the end of this chapter. One, we get, like, okay, are the ancient ultimate weapons, like, seems like the government has one of them. One of them was supposedly destroyed by Frank here, the blueprints to it. You got Shirahoshi, who is another one, and then you also have Wano, which is hiding one of them as well. So the fact that the government is looking mad scary right now. Not only do we see their seraphims just doing work that are like obviously not as strong as the warlords, but pretty damn close, and has like their abilities, which is incredibly frightening. One of them sliced through a mountain. That's not good. Um, and then you have, seems like they have access to an ultimate weapon that is very similar to Anel's like thing that would have destroyed all of Skypiea, which is not great. Um, or it could be Anel. Maybe he's brought back and he's using that weapon he made before, or somehow recreated it. I don't know, but these have been like the craziest few weeks. I'm so glad I'm caught up now, because it seems like um, I had thought, just based on the pace of Wano, I liked Wano a lot. I thought the raid maybe dragged a little bit too long, in my opinion. Still liked it a lot, though. But just the pace that Oda has been going for everything, I was like, this last arc, there's so much up in the air. We got all the government stuff. We have multiple pony glyphs. We have ancient weapons. We have Blackbeard. We have the government. We have the Navy that has to be dealt with. They're kind of hand in hand with the government. I'm assuming they're both going to be dealt with at the same time. But I'm like, okay, this last arc's going to be like 6 years, based on how long Wano was. And I'm like, there's no way it could be 2 or 3 years. The amount of info that we're getting right now and how fast this is going, I'm absolutely shocked. I could see it in 2 to 3 years, like how Oda said it was going to be. We're getting tons of info. Every chapter's been fire. I mean, if he keeps going at this pace, like, sure, maybe we can get it in 2 to 3 years. I would like something in between, maybe going balls to the wall like he's going right now, and how thoughtful and melodic Wano was, because I feel like the end of Wano was a bit rushed so that they can make things match up with Red. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. Let me know in the comments below.